Frothy bike. Appointments only. Is that because you're shite? You had a good thing going. I've got all sympathy for local businessmen who can't make it work, but that was a good thing you had going there down on the sands. That was a good cafe. You felt like you were in London. Nice big open space, relaxed vibe, good food. Bit too expensive, but it was quite good. I had some nice wee chats with gold framed legged Ross McMillan with his successful business, discussing the cycling stuff. See, if you'd asked Ross McMillan, right, a few questions, maybe you wouldn't be in this position in a shit little unit on out of the way in the Dumfries, near Dumfries Airport in the industrial estate. Appointments only. How are you going to get business doing that? That's a bit kind of, you want to be a drop-in place. Is that because you couldn't handle the pressure because you're not quite good enough? Maybe you should have trained a bit harder and been like me, and then your focusing skills would have been off the chart, and then you would have been able to make it work. Is the reason why you didn't work part of the reason because, as I was alluding to with Terry, because you don't have integrity is kind of lacking. What do I mean by that? Well, as I was saying to Terry, I took my bike in there one day and there was a little chip on the paint, wasn't there? A little crack in the paint, and of course he wanted to upsell, didn't he? The hard sell, like Grierson and Graham. I thought you were better than that. So there was a little chip in the paint, and he's like, "Oh, I can check that for you, and look at the frame and make sure there's no, I don't need your fucking, fake expert advice. There's nothing wrong with the frame." So I didn't agree to it, and then when I went to get the bike back after he'd done some other work on it, he had charged me for inspecting the bike. So that's a bit shit, isn't it? If you want to do well in this life, you've got to have integrity like me. So maybe if you'd actually learn from me how to have proper integrity and be just generally better, he would still have that good thing going. So yes, one might argue the rent prices and everything like that, maybe that was responsible, but well, just using the scientific method, maybe you were just a bit shit and you couldn't handle it, so you didn't really appreciate the opportunity that was there, and you fucked it up. Because in a small town like Dumfries, word travels fast. You can pull the wool over some of the people's eyes. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't feel it. You can't feel. That's the problem. He didn't feel. He didn't have the feel. He didn't have the feeling. He didn't have the passion. He was too busy off having holidays all the time, wasn't he? And the place was hardly ever open. You'd go in there, and then the bike shop was hardly there. It was hardly. And it seemed to be overpriced, and it just wasn't very good. So I suppose good luck to you. You'll need it. Dumfries still needs a decent bike shop and cafe. To quote Hugh McMillan, Dumfries is it's too big to be this and it's too small to be that. It's kind of like that difficult area, isn't it? But I still think there's some Fries. There's a niche. Not niche, there's a space waiting for someone to actually do a fucking proper bike shop. Isn't it funny that Halfords has overtaken the independent bike shops? I remember back in the day, Halfords was seen as shit, and they're absolutely crap, they've no knowledge. Well, isn't it funny how the two best bike mechanics in the whole town, Rachel and Ian, who used to ride with Graham O'Brien back in the day, quality people, really good. The two best bike mechanics left these shite, independent shops, right, to go and work in Halfords. So Halfords is overtaken and they've upped their game. So you got to be, it's a moving thing, isn't it? It's a Bruce Lee moving thing, isn't it? I guess, you got to go into the cracks and the crevices and kind of like learn, and it's a moving thing. You've got to adapt to the marketplace and da-da-da-da-da. Halfords did that. Ian's practically Bruce Lee. He's quality. Every time I go in there, I get the VIP treatment. Oh yeah, top of the list I get right in the priority queue. Because I get respect when I go in there. Didn't get respect when I went to the frothy, did I? And of course, what was the other thing he said? He said, "Oh, they'll be all on drugs. They'll be all on drugs." Oh, is that because you're not fit enough? You can countenance that someone could be better than you and actually be. I've worked harder and trained. Up your game.